What is Smoking Can Family? It is your host, Dustin, with two buds in a jar. And today with me, I got Harry Cola. Harry, how you doing today, Harry?
Good, man. How you been, man?
All doing good, man. Just catching up on YouTube videos, putting some content on tubes, man. What about you?
Oh yeah, I've been working on some projects that we'll probably get into later, but
Yeah.
definitely been working on some stuff too.
Well, I do we have live chat up, Harry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. So, guys, we got live chat up. We will be up for an hour. So, we're going to first do information on the grow. Now, in my grow, I'm using a lot of CO2 and I'm having to feed up to twice a day. Or twice a week. I'm sorry. I'm noticing with the northern lights and the grape apes, but they are absolutely loving it. The bright light and the CO2. And so far, I've ran into absolutely no issues with this grow. Usually I don't typically unless I make a simple mistake being too stoned. What about you, Harry? How's your grows going? If you're running into any problems, let me know.
Well, as you know, we deduced earlier some remedies and some action plans, and really looked over the plant from what we could see from the shorts. And so the big tent, obviously, that one's running like a dream. Everything's going fine with the wedding cheesecakes. The 2 by 2 by 3 foot tent, I believe that light was too close to it. I'm still thinking I may have messed up with the nitrogen feeding on that last feeding a little bit. That's why I'm seeing some clawing in there. And it does seem that it looks, as you mentioned, those purple stems. So it does look like it needs more of that flowering food and it needs
Yeah.
more space. So I'm going to try to get it into an area where I can give it more space, get that light higher up. It might not be perfect conditions within the VPD, but I think if I can do that and get it some more flowering food, as you suggested, onto its next feeding, it might be able to work itself out, but I'll have to do some adjusting with that one.
Yeah, me and Harry went over the shorts and we paused it and diagnosed it and I looked over it. It just needed a little more room and just a feeding and the light further away and just needs a flowering feeding. And other than that, she will strive and do absolutely excellent. It's just sometimes you have to give your girls a little bit more room, and that's exactly what Harry's going to do with that. And he's also got a surprise grow coming up with a photo period that you can, switch over outside the tent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be absolutely bomb. It's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen on a cannabis channel because it has never been done. And it was an idea congrued with me and Harry. We both came up with it. And, he's going to have one massive plant that's going to be videotaped every day. And this thing's going to get ridiculously big.
I'll have to get probably a 15-gallon pot to pull it off.
Yeah, and it's going to be cool can of family. I mean, you're going to see buds like you've never seen before, like one size of my head. So,
That'd be pretty cool.
yeah.
I might have to sacrifice some of the studio lights to keep that thing going.
Speaking of cannabis, have you heard that Utah has over 100,000 medical marijuana patients?
I didn't even know it was legal in Utah.
I didn't either. I mean, we do keep up on things here at Two Buds in a Jar, but we don't know every state or legal technicalities, only our own, and maybe a few other ones. But to think they have such a high ratio of medical marijuana patients, I gotta say.
It's wild.
And it is wild. It goes to show they're more pro cannabis over there, which is good. Most of the United States is by now, though.
Well, again, too, with something like cannabis, I feel you can do that and still function and get stuff done throughout the day. Where once you get sloshed, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of stuff done. Even
Yeah,
if you are functioning, you're still going to be not functional.
I agree, Harry. You'll get more done in a day with a joint smoke to the face than a whole case of beer to the stomach.
Yeah,
I guarantee that. That's for sure. So, that's why we just smoke weed and get our content filmed.
right.
Yeah, stay on track. But I mean, it is crazy, And
Well, it's
speaking of,
cool. It's cool that at least it shows that the people do appreciate the plant, they enjoy the plant, and they don't see it. I feel like a lot of Americans, at least due to the studies that I've seen, think that, cannabis is less dangerous than alcohol or, any of these other substances
Yes,
out there.
and that is completely false. You have more recorded deaths, both in alcoholic crash related. You have more deaths in alcoholic overdoses, and you have a lot of
Well, I said that.
violence that
Well,
occurs too with
I said
alcohol.
that can they think that cannabis is safer than alcohol in some
Yeah, and those
instances.
are three things that statistically prove that completely false. No one's ever died of cannabis. But speaking of almost
Well,
died,
not yet. I mean, we're getting to a point now where it is really getting ridiculous. You could get patches, injections, dabs, boofs. Like, man,
yeah,
you
yeah,
could fill your every orifice in your body with cannabis.
and THC,
So, I mean,
yes.
like nobody's done it yet, but I'm sure there's somebody out there willing and ready to push that limit.
Oh yeah, they're ready just to grab a whole box of med boofs and
The guy that's
but back to the docket. To the docket. Um, so speaking of wild and crazy, so scientists have found footprints, can a family, that mark our existence on this earth 40 more million years back to what they thought.
I feel like I had a theory about that at one time that we were actually been on this planet a lot longer than what we think we have, and that looks like my idea might have been something to that idea. It's pretty
Yeah,
false.
yeah. See, the thing is, that they don't even know how long we've been here on the Earth, can a family. So the fact that they just found that our existence dates back 40 more million years is not too surprising to me, honestly, because I knew we existed, and there's just guesstimated time periods of events throughout history. So with that being said, it's not like you were there and you witnessed it and you know for a fact that was that date. You're just being told by a book.
It's all
Yes,
speculation.
it's all purely speculation. And, history and historical events have always been written by the winners. So there are parts that are left out. So with that being said, our existence on this earth was probably at the same point of every other living creature, I'd
Well,
imagine.
I would beg to argue only because of certain artifacts that have been found. They're also kind of pushed to the side, but there's been artifacts of like what would look like a child's toy, right? And the
Yeah,
creature looks like a rhinoceros or a um, rhinoceros unicornus
yeah,
with a person riding it. And then there's another one that looks like a triceratops with a person riding it.
yeah.
So, I mean, and the dinosaurs, as far as we know, were around 66 million years ago. We're going back 40 million years, so it's not that much of a stretch to
Yeah.
get 20 more million
We were
years.
baked even back in the Stone Age, putting fire to herb and riding dinosaurs, guys, 40 plus million
Could
years
you
ago.
imagine though? I think that would explain like the Starfort cities
Yeah.
because those are real thick walls. And you would think if you were literally battling dinosaurs, these lumbering giants, you would need really thick walls to keep them out.
Fuck it, yeah, you would, yeah. Because those creatures weigh hundreds of thousands of pounds and they're smashing through your shit. You definitely need a structure strong enough,
Yeah.
you know? I think it's crazy. I think the fact that our existence, I mean, if you think about it, it dates clear back to Jurassic and prehistoric times. So we go back 40 million plus years ago, and it's pretty badass, I gotta say.
It's wild.
We've been here since the beginning of time, and I think over time science will prove that we've just been here since, I mean, not
Well,
the
yeah,
beginning of
yeah,
time
yeah.
necessarily. Let me clarify that. But since the beginning of the like dinosaur where there's living organisms on land. So I think there were mammals, there were reptilian life, and then there was also us. So I mean, that's just my, thesis here on it. So,
We may not have been as
I mean, I'm not a dinosaur expert,
evolutionized as
guys.
we are now, but we probably were in some form hairier and more primal, probably more instinctual.
Oh yeah, we were way more primitive back then. I mean, the fact that we discovered fire was, like a miracle to us at the time. We've also made weapons and stuff. So it was an interesting history historical time. I gotta
Well,
say, a
I
lot of
mean,
things were happening.
unless the stories of the Anunnaki are true, and then it would have been them who taught us fire. We would have never went a day without it.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
It is hard to tell because you do find like when you look through like old samples of where people would have used the bathroom, you will find like rotted or like a raw, if you will, meat in their
Yeah,
cookies and stuff like that. So
I agree.
I don't think it would be uncommon for people to eat raw food at those times because they wouldn't have been as of aware, you know?
Yeah.
And we didn't know about disease back in the 1800s.
Yeah, really, we didn't. We had no idea to that, and it was a quite foreign concept to us. So initially, what we did, we just kept making mistake after mistake and all that. So getting back to one topic, for going back 40 million years ago, that our existence dates on this earth that scientists just found out is not overwhelmingly surprising. I think we were here since the first living organisms and through evolutionary periods, that's kind of how we evolutionized as human beings as we are today. I
Probably
mean,
shortly, some short time after we managed to get out of the ocean, you know?
yeah, somewhere
And
around that
I
time period.
I don't know what could have happened. Maybe it's the fluctuations in the environment, rapid change over time. I'm not sure.
Speaking of which, speaking over time, what they did over time was kind of fascinating. What they did was they created, I believe it's in Texas, don't quote me, but it is within the United States, in one of these states. They created a whole cul-de-sac that they 3D printed within 2 years. And the material that they're using is fireproof, disaster proof, and it took only a quarter of the time that putting it up with construction equipment would have done. So ultimately, cheaply and affordably, you can house more people and put them in 3D printed houses that are made from stronger structural material than the houses we're living in right now with siding, uh, you know, uh, foam insulation. Fuzzy insulation and then wood boards and drywall ultimately. So you got a stronger, better material and it houses more people more affordably on a 3D printed level, which is really freaking cool.
So
What do you think about living
basically,
in a 3D printed house, Harry? Would you do it?
well, so what you're telling me though is when the robots come to take our jobs, they're taking all the jobs. Because I mean, if you can 3D print a house, you don't need a person to make that
Well,
house or build
well,
it.
you no longer need construction workers. You
Yeah.
still need 20 million other people. And there's still got to be people that, use these devices. So
I'm
technically, yes, you still need them, even though, but you got to replenish the material. It's like if you can, a giant 3D printer. You got to put the filament in, you got to be there to give it the blueprint and directions.
it won't be
And
long and the robots will do that for you.
well, hopefully, who the hell wants to go outside and build a house for 3 months? That's some grueling ass work.
I don't,
Building a foundation, digging a basement,
well, it
support
depends on how
beams,
you're
and
building it, I suppose. I don't think, do these places have basements, these 3D printed houses?
no, but they do have attics. They're built
See,
from the ground up.
so they don't have basements either. So we could negate the basement. You
Yeah.
still have to put down a foundation, but that's not that bad.
And they're strong wind resistant, which means tornadoes can't pick them up.
Are they the round ones?
No,
The
they're
half
actually
domes?
square shaped.
Square
They're just
shaped
rounded at the
at the edges.
edges.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
so
sense. But I've seen the material. It almost reminds me of like toothpaste coming out of a tube and then it dries.
yeah, it's more like filament and concrete to me.
I wonder.
Reminds me like the mortar you would see between red bricks.
Hmm, that is pretty cool though. I wonder if they can start 3D printing buildings like that. I wonder if they'll start making like fancy designed buildings because now we can have this machine go in and swirl things around and move it around before it dries and have awesome artworks and buildings again.
Well, I mean, would you grow in or live in one? I'll be right back, guys.
Um, would I live in um one of these houses? I don't know, man. Would you guys out there watching? Would you live in one of the 3D printed houses? What do you think about doing something like that? Would you do that? That is, I don't know. I guess if it was spacious and affordable, I guess, I mean, I feel like stuff like this, they're like setting things up in a way to where, people aren't going to be really needed for anything, and then it's kind of weird to think like what's going to happen to capitalism when there's no more consumers. I wonder that. But again, 3D printed houses, I don't know. Uh, I guess the two questions is it spacious and can I grow cannabis in there? And if I can, then I guess so. I think that would work. Doesn't seem like we have a whole lot of people talking today in the comments. Hmm. Um, so I don't know, man. What do you think? Wait.
Um,
Uh, so, out there in the houses, so they're square. I'm looking for something else to talk about here. Yeah. So, what am I gonna do with this mimosa cake? Plan with the mimosa cake is to move it into my bathroom. I'm gonna use the bar in there to get the light higher. I want to see it at least 24 inches while it's still looking rough. As soon as it dries out, I'm gonna try to give it a feeding with the plant food, and I might switch up the way I do the feedings, but I'll show that to you on the shorts. I'll have to really think about it, but Dustin's advice with autoflowers is to use tap and then not mix it with the RO. And I that might and after studying ruderalis a little bit, because we did do a video on that coming up shortly, and after studying that a little bit, I'm starting to realize that ruderalis is really a different plant,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
It's so different, and it's so fast.
It is an animal all of its own, and we made a video on it. We is coming out here shortly this week. Just a little sneak preview, but we ended up making a video on the ruderalis, and it is quite a strange ass plant, I gotta say. But we don't want to get too much into it. But back on the 3D printed houses, would I live in one if they are efficient, if they're cheap, if they're cheaper than the rent now?
Can you grow weed in it?
Yeah,
Well, that was like, okay, is it cheap? Is it affordable? Can I grow weed in it? If those are all check marks, then I'm cool.
yeah,
Would you live
yeah.
in one of the Elon Musk houses?
What?
Have you
What?
seen those things?
No. Oh yeah, no, no. I'm 6 foot two, dude. Like
You'll be
200.
like,
Yeah, 200 some pounds, man, and I just can't fluctuate or
you'll turn
live.
around and knock the kitchen out.
Yeah, dude, I'll end up knocking my table over with my big ass and shit. So yeah, I mean, essentially, no, I wouldn't live in an Elon Musk house, but a 3D printed house, absolutely can a family. I would
It it
because
it just
it would be cheaper and more efficient than the apartment I live in now. I'll just need like a two, three bedroom.
it
I got a
just
two-part bedroom,
right.
two bedroom now, so
It
need
just
like a
makes me
three.
worried because like you see AI coming in and it's replacing a bunch of jobs, and they're showing us what these robots can do.
Yeah, but do you want to build a house, man? So it's
Well,
okay for some
I'm
jobs
not,
to
I'm
get
not, I'm not.
replaced.
It's not some. If you pay attention to what they're doing, it won't be long. Every single job will be replaced by either an AI, a robot, or an AI and a robot, or a drone.
Yeah, Harry's
You see
hyper
those
worried
things?
about the
Like,
AI
well,
systems.
once all this happens, what's going to happen to capitalism when there's nobody to consume? Consumerism is going to go away.
I don't think so. I mean,
When
America is a state of consumerism. I mean, that's what America's based off of because it's based off
if
of a bunch
nobody
of
can work,
self-made businesses too.
if nobody can work, like the only way I see it honestly working is if they do a rollout like they did with the card, and they make the robots affordable to the people, and the people can make money from the robots that they tend to work for. Then
Yeah.
I could see that working and they could still be consumeristic. But if it's going to be the big industries are going to own all the robots and we're going to own nothing, we're not going to have jobs, we're not going to have money to go and pay for all their stuff that they're trying to sell.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just the fact.
Yeah. I
Reality.
mean, who knows? Maybe one day then humanity will finally be free instead of enslaved at a 9 to 5 job ideology, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, we'll be free to
Instead of
hang out at the camp and, do
live
all
our
the
lives.
artwork and play music and do whatever we want.
Yeah.
We won't be able to afford food, so we'll have to grow it.
Yeah.
Good thing we know how to grow cannabis.
Yeah. We will be learn how to grow tomatoes and whatnot,
Hey,
I
I
gotta
got
say, but
tomatoes. I could grow tomatoes and radishes, and I can grow all the farm foods, man.
Harry can do some farming, let me tell you what, when it comes to those tomatoes and cucumbers and shit, Harry can definitely grow
Get
them.
some cukes.
Some oranges and shit.
Oh, have you ever had string beans? Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
so good. Fresh, raw, just, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But those type of ways are kind of going away because they're old ways. But speaking of going away, what's crazy is the new thing that's going away is the pennies, man. They're doing away with pennies, and then they said nickels are next. And yeah, that's because so much many Americans, I guess, at least have anywhere estimated from $60 to $90 worth of change in their household. And a lot of it gets thrown away because people just throw out their change. And I get it. Like when I come home from the store, I just throw mine in my change container. I have like a little ceramic skull that holds a lot of change. It's deep. It's like a cookie jar with the top, but it's just shaped like a ceramic skull. I just throw my change inside the little skull head, until it's full. And then I like do all the like coin rolls. And then I'll go take it, cash it in. But if pennies are becoming, non existent, they might become a rare collector commodity. So it might be, smart to pick up a few hundred of them, take a couple dollars to your local bank,
It's
you know?
crazy.
I never thought I'd see the day where pennies and nickels. What the hell do you think about that, Harry?
It's wild.
What's the yeah?
And it makes me think like,
They should do away with the dollar bill next because it's been in most strippers' ass. I mean, you know, I think a dollar bill's the most dirtiest ass piece of money you can have, man. Personally, what do you think? Would you like having a bunch of dollar bills, Harry?
well, we're still talking about the penny, and they say that, it costs 2 cents to make 1 penny. I'm not saying it
Yeah.
makes sense. It only
It,
makes 1 penny.
yeah. Yeah, and it costs 2 nickels, up to two and a half, 3 nickels to make 1 nickel. So the amount of
It
silver,
costs 2.5 nickels.
yeah, to make 1 nickel. Damn right, Harry. It's crazy. That's
So
why
so
they're doing away with the penny and nickel.
this just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, so
Get
just
it?
so
Don't
just
make sense.
it really don't. It really don't because so you're the government goes to the federal treasury, borrows the money which they have to pay tax on, and they also have to pay to have that money printed, which costs double the amount or more to print said money. So you're
Damn
getting
right, Harry.
charged to get the money, you're getting charged to print the money. How does that even make sense? That doesn't make any sense at
I
all.
don't know. Like, if I'm making a product and selling it to you and I'm not making full money off that product, it doesn't make sense for me to have it in circulation. So,
That is crazy. I think they're trying to do away with cash. I've been hearing whispers about it for like a long time. And I think they're getting to that point where they're really just they're tired of cash. Yeah, like you said, money's dirty. It's hard to regulate, it's hard to track, and they don't like that. They want to be able to regulate and track everything. So they're going to slowly start taking away the pennies, and it's going to be the nickels, and it's going to be the half dollars, and the $2, and the $1. And
yeah.
before you know it, all the cash is going to be gone.
Yeah, they're doing the pennies and the nickels. And what do you think about them? It's crazy because they do need to do away with the ones. I believe ones and pennies are like the worst money you can
I,
touch.
I, I think it's all a
Like
slippery slope.
pennies have been in every crack and crevice you can imagine, and God knows where them dollar bills have been.
I'm just saying, it's slippery slope. They start,
It is, Harry.
you know how it works. If you let them take an inch, they're taking the whole mile.
Yeah, every damn time,
You know.
guaranteed, you know. So, I mean, it's crazy to think that we freaking what is it?
But we're the last generation to see
Yeah,
the penny.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
wild. We gotta
It
save
is
some for the
crazy.
museums.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I can think. Is save some for the museums. So you can
Yeah,
tell kids like, hey,
yeah.
we this is how we
Cool.
used to use money, and they'll be like, what?
Yeah,
You use to hold money in your hands? What is that?
yeah. I
So
mean,
it's
most
all
currency,
digital.
yeah, most currency, I was about to say, is on a card and it is all digital. So, I mean, you do have that aspect of it. That's a very real aspect of it.
But they'll be like, when we were kids, we had to take green dollar bills in our hand and travel across town and talk to a strange man we had never met in order to have fun.
Or buy things. It's going to be strange indeed, I gotta say. I mean, times change, obviously, and people human or, evolutionize over time periods. But, at the same time, it's like, it's crazy to see the end of an era, the end of this type of circulation
Well,
because
we're seeing the
it's,
death of cash.
yeah, in the beginning of just pure digital cash. I mean, they like to know about transactions basically, and that seems what the hell the thing is,
Well,
controlling
okay,
transactions
so in
or
our
knowing.
new digital age, knowing what people are interested in, knowing what people are buying, knowing their shopping habits, knowing all these different things makes it easier for these corporations to
To
target
sell us.
you.
Yeah, and yeah, consumerism at its finest. So, I mean, ultimately, but what can you do?
I mean,
You
you
know?
get on Google anymore and you're trying to just look up information, and no matter what you click on, it's like they're just trying to sell you stuff until then it's like, all my information's way down here.
Yeah, essentially, it's a search engine that's mostly used
It's an
Target.
ad engine that
Yeah,
doubles as a search engine anymore.
yeah, and then it's sold off to more and more people, man. Harry, you're gonna be double fisting bags, man. I'm gonna be hitting a new haul. Big deal. We're toking on some Captain Junkie, and old Harry Cole is gonna be hitting 2 bags at once, getting fried. And guys, we just wanted to have a more chill stream because we hit the content hard with you guys. And we're going to be giving it to you every day this week. And we're going to be releasing videos. We got 3 made, and they are pure fire stuff you've never seen before on the Cannabis channel. Guarantee it. So, we try to do everything a little different. Right now, when we have, live streams, sometimes we have a docket. We had some things we wanted to talk about and just get out of the way, but most of the time it's just to kick it with you guys. We did make it a little late, so there's probably less of you in, the chat right here and watching. But we're glad for you guys that did show up. Much love, Canna family. We're just out here. We had some in real life stuff we had to figure out, and then we had to get back to the content. You know how it is. Sometimes you got stuff in real life you got to figure out. We got that all figured out and out of the way, man. And we're back at it with more content. We're going to be bringing to you 7 days a week, of course, with 3 to 4 uploads per week. We film every Monday and do lives every Monday as well. Right now, we're just kind of vibing and smoking. We see no, is there anybody in chat?
Nope, we got
No,
nobody in chat.
nobody in chat. Yeah. We did start late. It is around 10 o'clock. So, I mean, only people are going to be just bored scrolling through the phone. I know how that is. You come across lives and then you jump out of it and watch it.
Right.
So I can relate. I do it too. We did start a little late. We apologize, Canna family. It's just due to the fact that, we do try to cram a lot of filming from 8 o'clock typically till 12 o'clock midnight into one day. And it becomes quite exhausting.
And
And I
and
gotta say, I mean, look at Harry. He looks like he's barely awake right now.
and we've been working on a bigger project too, which the blue folder's over there. It has
Yeah,
the bigger project in it.
and we ain't going to get into too much of it, but it's going to be more of a sitcom kind of comedy. and we're going to be putting seasons of it together, and we're going to be throwing it on there along with our 3 to 4 videos that we normally upload and our shorts that we upload 7 days a week, every week. 365. We don't stop uploading content. We got a lot going on here at Two Buds in a Jar. A lot of stuff is evolutionizing. We're always buying new equipment, always changing up our grows, always growing new strands, always bringing you new videos. Always, always, Harry.
Yep.
You know? So we got a lot on the way, just to let you guys know. And we've been using this volcano thing for, I gotta say, too, for quite a few years. And a little review on it. If you guys plan to ever buy Swords and Bickle desk vape, they are absolutely amazing. Wouldn't you agree, Harry?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Great flavors, great effects.
Yep. They're an easy smoke.
It tears you up every time, don't it? Hey, me
Oh yeah.
too. Even no matter how high your tolerance are, these desk vapes are the way to go. You receive all your cannabinoids, which is half of your buzz, and then you receive all your THC, which is in your buzz entirely. So, you got that half and half both world of cannabinoids hitting you and terpenes. So it is pretty awesome, I gotta say. And we switched it up, as you guys can see. We have the couch, we got the table, make it a little more comfortable. The last time we had a guest, this is how we had it because we had to fit 3 of us, which was cool. We got a new person. If you guys didn't see the podcast, we got a new audio guy. His name is 3307, but I mean, we call him
Zero
Leo.
zero three seven.
037, which is Leo, and he's our new audio guy. But that's his,
He's working on music for us
yeah,
now.
we're going to have a new intro, we're going to have a new outro, and we're going to have samples to throw in when we're showing you guys reviews.
Some
And
ambiance and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. So he's going to be our audio guy. We also got a new guy that is stage hands, and he's going to be helping us. We got another guy that's helping promote, and he's somebody I've known for a while throughout YouTube and just met again over time, but I knew him for a long time. So he's going to be doing our promotion. I ain't going to put his name out there. So we got somebody on promotion, me on promotion while doing a bunch of stuff. Harry Cola doing what Harry Cola does. We
Yeah,
got
I
Leo.
pretty much edit, but I also I guess I shoot the shorts, and been working on the sitcom. So
Yeah, and the sitcom. So we got a 5-man team right now. So, we wanted to grow strong so we could push even more content out to you guys and, have time to do more live
well,
streams.
technically it's a sit SOCOM, and it's like I don't know, what would you say, like a fusion of like I would say like there's a fusion there of like a sitcom and just a lot of like wild stoner themes. I'm trying to say it the Sudan for real deal.
Yeah, yeah, don't give away too much information on sitcom coming up, but
But
it will be.
it's gonna take a lot of work to get it all shot. I
Yeah,
imagine maybe if everything works out, I mean it just depends on how long we could work for a day and how long. 'Cause we have a
yeah.
lot to get shot.
Do you
Not a
guys
lot.
have something packed up and loaded up, rolled up, unpacked, as far as like an edible, unpackaged? Join us, Scana family. Much love. We are currently at 2,500, I believe, 20 subscribers. That is absolutely crazy, guys. When we started this channel, I never thought we would get that. And the numbers just keep going up every day, and I'm personally astonished. So thank you guys. Much love out there. We're the reason why you got, or you're the reason why we exist, rather. I'm sorry, out here in YouTube land. If it wasn't for your likes, subscribes, hitting the
Hey,
notifications, showing your friends.
we got six Andy. Six, you said yo Dustin.
Andy Six,
Yep.
what is up, bro? How you doing, man? We are live right now.
You know.
Yeah, shout out to Andy Six, man, in the comment section. What's up, man? We are just talking about a lot of different topics we covered, man. But moving forward, we're talking about the content we're doing, man.
He said he
And
just liked it.
yeah, much love, man. Thank you. but we've been talking about the content, bunch of content we're making. What we're going to be doing as far as our grows, kind of how they're doing, and some things that we found that were kind of fascinating, such as the penny going out of circulation, 3D printed houses. This stuff is just absolutely mind-boggling what's happening. And it's the little steps, them taking pennies and nickels away, and then you got 3D printed houses, and it's just like, dude, in 2025, things finally changing, you know?
Wait, it's wild. It's wild to think of all the crazy stuff. Like I know when I was a kid, it was like one foot was still in the old world, right?
Mm,
And then we watched the world go from no internet, no computers to everybody has a smartphone in their pocket and a computer in their pocket, you know? And now in the next 10 years, I feel like the world's going to be completely unrecognizable to that world when I was a kid.
yeah, yeah. I went through a lot of places in the area I live, and you know, luckily all the places like years ago I had memories out, they all exist there, but there is change going all around, the place and area. There's new buildings going up, new houses, but it's still the same old place. So I think, over time, things just change and you gotta accept that as like, just as a human in general, man, humans are just a forever evolutionizing, species. So you're going to have that forever evolutionary, building houses is going to become more easier and affordable, and things that are hard and impossible are going to become more possible.
Andy says, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Andy, man. So, I mean, yeah, that. Now, would you live in a 3D printed house, man? I mean, seriously, it is pretty cool. The ideal of it, and the rent's more affordable. Your bills are more better because, you have no air leaks or anything like in a house or apartment, so everything, and it's
Well,
water
okay, so
resistant and
okay,
fire
okay, okay.
resistant.
So here's the idea, right? You get the plot of land, and you have the 3D printed house built on your
Yeah.
plot of land. Yeah, I could go with that idea. That's fine. Yeah, if it's cheaper, more affordable, quicker to set up. Now you do lose the access to having a basement. I don't really need a basement. Basements actually cause a lot of problems anyway. You don't need those things.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of things that haven't been around, we finally hit 3,000 watch hours. Can you believe that, Harry? We're at 3,053, and all we need to do is set 4,000, and then we can finally be monetized by YouTube.
And more wild.
It is. It's crazy, dude, to think. I gotta say. I mean, it's a totally mind-boggling thing. We've been only here on this platform for about 2 years now, but we've uploaded quite a bit. We're almost at 500,000 views on the channel. you know. So it's crazy to think we've got those kind of numbers in 2 years, and it's all thanks to the Canna family watching. I gotta say, they're amazing. And then, our work and dedication toward the channel, man, but that's just a little part of it. You know.
Yeah, six Andy says, dude, I was homeless for a long time in the past. I'd be mad happy to have that. Mad happy to have that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Oh, I do.
I'm
Yeah.
at a loss.
Yeah, for the 3D printed house, and
Oh
understandable, man.
yeah.
There was a time years ago. I mean, I'm not going to lie that I was homeless at one point, just due to life circumstances. And being homeless is not easy if you're not trying to be. And sometimes you go to try to, be a normal functioning part of society, and it just doesn't happen easy for you. You know what I'm saying? So not all them pieces fall into place, no matter if you're trying or not. So luckily, with some determination, you can make things happen, is how I feel. And, but yeah, being homeless sucked. I remember sleeping on benches. I remember sleeping in parks at the time, off people's couches, at people's houses. Well, a lot of different people I knew. But this was all years ago. So, I mean, it was quite the experience, man. I got to say, I met a lot of people, seen a lot of crazy shit, but yeah, it's a rough lifestyle because you take for granted what you normally can do. You wake up usually, in a house, you can sleep in a bed instead of on a bench. You can shower, when you want to shower, whenever. So, those are little things you take for granted, man, and when you're homeless, you don't have that shit, but. So people that, finally do get places and move up in the world, like I can say I'm one of those people, man. I'm a determined individual, so I just better my situation no matter what I'm faced or what I'm up against. And I would never want to go back to that lifestyle at all, pay your bills by all means and don't be homeless as by any means you can necessarily. It is not recommended. It sucked for the period in time I did it. What about you, Harry? You have any experience with that?
Oh, I mean, a little bit. A little bit. I've been there. I've slept in the rain and woke up with the sun.
Being barbecued, man, essentially by the sun. And
I think you get used to it. Once you
oh,
you adapt to it and you overcome. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's any willed individual if you think about it. When you're faced with strong difficulties in life, you're either going to succumb and bend under that pressure, or you're going to, further yourself in that pursuit to overconquer whatever problem you're facing. And sometimes, one problem itself could be overwhelming. But at the same time, if you consistently pursue it and think about it logically, there's a way over that obstacle.
Andy Six asks how the volcano smokes.
Andy Six, man, the volcano, I gotta say, smokes really well. It has excellent terpene flavor profile. It has excellent effect, and you can't grow strand tolerance because it does give you that full spectrum of both cannabinoids and THC every time, and it hits your dome. So you're bound to get buzzed, even if you're been smoking off like an ounce of Blue Dream and you're halfway through it. It's still going to get you buzzed as fuck with it, and it's a good device, honestly.
It's expensive.
It is expensive. Unfortunately, their models run $600 to $700. I was not sponsored and given this. It was purchased for me as a gift. So if I wasn't, I wouldn't have it. So there are cheaper models and there are handheld versions that are made by Stores and Bickle. But I gotta say, if you're looking for like the ultimate smoke piece, like, everybody's searching for that one bong or that one bowl or that one piece. This is it. It's going to deliver effects, great taste. It can burn concentrates and flour. It comes with a hose or bags you've seen me and Harry using just now. And coming from a second point, I'm going to give it over to Harry. And what do you think about this thing in its entirety? The Stores and Bickle device.
Okay, so the bags I think work really great. The bags are wonderful to
Yep.
use with this device, but they they're the hose. I don't like the hose.
The
The
hose.
hose attachment just doesn't give me the hit that I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's consistent. It just constantly flows. If you're looking to get blown and fill up your lungs real quick, or you can control it by turning the button on, getting a lungful and turning it off with the hose. And the hose should attach tighter to the device because if you move the hose, like jerk it over to the left or right real quick, the hose will fall off the top of the device. And that's annoying. But, oh,
Wait, what were you saying?
oh, about the hose, man,
Oh
falling
yeah.
off the device and how it can
Um,
be annoying.
and then there are some of these models. Wasn't there a model that had some issues with
The
it?
hybrid model. Now, you might think this one just has a dial, but the hybrid model is the digital one. And I'll flip this around so you guys can see what I'm talking
Was
about.
they
But
might have fixed it
nope,
since then. I really don't know.
no,
But no, I
no.
wouldn't recommend the hybrid model.
Right there is the dial. And these are heavier devices, but right there is the dial. And where that dial is usually a front facing plate. And what happens is in their hybrid models, they have the same thing, but it's bigger. But these plastic things, for some reason, on the hybrid model burn, and you can't just replace this. So you have to buy a new volcano in order to get that. So them just burning through pieces like that. Don't get the hybrid model. Get the old school one with the dial like this one. This one was a limited edition, but they do sell them. And it's on storesandbickle.com. They're a great German company. I highly recommend them.
What was that thing on the bottom of the bag?
Uh,
Is that a release valve?
yeah, it's a release valve mouthpiece. Yep. Yep. And how it works, Canna family, is it's blown, let's say it's blown up and full with vapor. When you push in this black valve right here, it touches this orange mouthpiece or right here, which opens this bag and you inhale it in. And then if you don't want to inhale anymore and your lungs are full, just let this pop back up and it'll close off this bag ultimately. So, it's used much like a lung device. They are actually medical devices and they are given to medical patients. So they are top tier equipment for cannabis use, I gotta say, and they work quite well.
This is a question for me. I got Southwest Homegrown. What's up? How's the mimosa cake doing? Um, uh, the mimosa cake is rough.
Explain it to us, Harry. What's going on with the mimosa cake?
Okay, a few issues happened in that tent. The light was too close, causing bleaching, which would cause stress to the plant. I think it going into flowering had too much nitrogen, which caused more stress to the plant. I believe the medium had some kind of pathogen problems, which I should have taken care of. It should have got knocked out, but in 10 days I'll use neem again to make sure it's knocked out. But I believe there was a pathogen issue in there or some kind of something in there bad. The plant got weakened. Whatever bad thing in there was able to attack the plant and get in and affect the plant. So that's why it's still droopy and looking rough. So the plan of action is to get it out of that tub, get the zombies out of the tub.
Just zombies.
Zombies. Well, let's say you said zombies.
Oh, it's Harry was reading chat, got zombies, but get the mimosa cake into the tub.
Well, yeah, just get it into an area where it can have more space, that light can be higher up, and it can just have a gentle fan kind of on it, and hopefully with some flowering food and some proper drying and wetting, it will come out of the issues that it's having.
Yeah, yeah. Harry's doesn't have the experience with autos like I do, and I help him out with it. And we both, diagnose and figure out the problem of that mimosa cake. So, it's all right. I've had a lot of experience with autos, and I've had a lot of experience with feminized and photo period as well. So, I'm kind of all around the board. And Harry has a lot of experience with regular plants, so, and then some with cannabis and cloning. So, we just put our noggins together and we both, kind of correlate and help each other with certain things. I've been growing, like I said, for years, and even I make mistakes. I've been growing for, 2 decades now. And, there's sometimes I'll get too stoned and read something, or maybe I'll be in the garden, I'll be too tired, and maybe I'll like knock a leaf off or something, not paying attention because I'm too tired. But, you make mistakes. We're all human, and
Well,
that shouldn't deter you from growing,
but the
you know?
autoflowers, I know going into it, they're tricky, and I knew that the tent that I was growing in was also a very tricky environment. And I really wasn't sure. I think if I don't even know because those other lights were making the tent way too hot. That's why I wanted to switch them out in the first place. But then the
Yeah.
new light I think was just too strong, and originally it was a lot closer. I had it like plant here, light here,
Yeah.
and I think that caused a lot of stress too. So it was a lot of factors of stress which caused it to happen ultimately. But it's not that big of a deal. I can always try again. The wedding cakes still look good, and they're gonna be bigger plants, so I'll still
Yeah.
have some fire from them to toke down on.
Yeah, and soon this channel will have Harry's mimosa cake and wedding cake and flower. I will have Northern Lights and grape ape and flower, and you guys will get to see all four of those strands flowering on our channel, and it'll be awesome. you can watch and keep update of four different
Now,
flowering strands.
for autoflowers, we've actually discovered. Okay, I'll say what Southwestern Home Grows says.
Yeah.
Dang, man, sorry. Hopefully, you can still pull some fire off it. Then he said, "These are my first autoflowers as well. I'm learning as well. I'm going back to photo after." Well, we learned with autoflowers, which ones? Those little ones?
Um,
The
which ones?
the little one you got
Oh,
growing.
Northern Lights.
Northern
Yeah.
Lights seems to be like a really simple one to grow because it doesn't require as much
Yeah.
nutrients and it stays pretty compact and small, which
Yeah.
allows you to be able to really have more control, more light penetration, and you're not worried about this thing overgrowing the pot and having to go in there and trim it or feed it all the time because it's really not needing food like the other ones.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta say, if you guys are just beginning, I highly, highly recommend, or if you just want an easy cultivar with an easy yield, Northern Lights by 42 Fastbuds, hands down. It grows about this tall. It is exactly about this tall, Canna family, and it is an excellent cultivar. It's real dark green, real bushy, overall, really nice. And I highly recommend it, especially like I said, if you're a beginner, it'll be an easy cultivar and it won't be hard to grow. And so and sorry for any banging, you may hear. I have neighbors above me and they're ignorant, so as hell.
That
So
happens.
yeah, they love doing this stuff when we record. So, sorry about that, Canna family, but moving on.
Well, they have a bowling alley up there.
Yeah, I guess they get a strike every time.
And they're doing construction and they teach ballet. So,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
might be some noises from up there, but it'll be all right.
yeah. Don't forget the daily yoga and wrestling.
Well, they have the kids daycare too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff's going on up there.
Yeah. It's a whole construction zone of madness.
Yeah,
So,
I think they're using the kids as the construction workers,
yeah, yeah.
free
Could
child labor.
yeah. They're working sweatshop up there. That's why it's so damn loud or something.
They're making cell
Yeah,
phones.
yeah. Damn them, damn them. We don't need no more Obama phones.
I'm okay.
Uh, But yeah, so you're going to see different, four different strands ultimately flowering on the channel, which is going to look really beautiful, I got to say. Especially the cultivars. A couple of them are going to have coloration. We ain't going to tell you which ones, but you'll have to wait to find out, I got to say. But what do you think, Harry? What do you think your ultimate yield off your three plants is going to be? I got four, but technically one's only 2 feet. The rest
I
of
mean,
them are like huge.
I feel like it's counting chickens before they hatch. I still have 2 months to go, and
Well,
that's 2 months I could, make some kind of
miracle happen.
miracle happen or some
Yeah.
fatal error.
Yeah, I think
So
a miracle happens more.
well,
Let's see.
in the bigger tank, I'm very confident because I've grown a lot of the fast flowers. The plants look really good so far. I mean, the one on the right looks better than the one on the left, but they both look relatively good. So, moving forward with those, I have at least some good confidence. The mimosa cake, not as much confidence with that one. That one, I don't know.
Yeah, well, sometimes these sativas autos can be a little touchy, and one thing I'll tell you guys about sativa autos is you're going to definitely give them the full dose of CalMag. So if you're growing autos, none of that quarter to half that you feed them full nutrients, especially if you're running CO2, you're going to have to feed them full nutrients at least twice a week. So yeah, it's just some particular cultivars you guys will learn through experience will need more than others. Some, like the mimosa cake and the strawberries, the two sativa hybrids, well, predominantly sativa hybrids, I grew, they required more CalMag, and it made me immediately realize a lot of sativa autos need more CalMag than what indicas do. The indicas typically need them when they start flowering, while sativas may really require the CalMag all through their growth cycle when it comes to autoflower. So that's kind of fascinating, I gotta say. How some cultivars will require different, food regimens and more phosphorus or more nitrogen and things of that nature.
Right.
What about you, Harry? How are you feeling these auto flowers?
They definitely did have a higher demand for calcium. I can attest to that because they are hybrids, but they are sativa, mostly sativa, and they did want. And I imagine as we go into flower, they're gonna kick up that demand for calcium because that stretch is crazy. And anytime you have a plant that has a bunch of stretch to it, it seems like it needs those reserves of calcium. So when it does do that stretch, it can do that stretch.
Absolutely, I agree, Harry. I agree. It needs those CalMag boosts during the beginning of flower. And what you guys got to understand is these are a plant that's designed, once they sprout, they're designed to grow and keep going. So, light cycles kind of don't even really, I mean, they
But
do matter to a degree, but,
cal
they eat a lot more and a lot quicker because their life is sped up,
and,
you
and
know.
calcium and magnesium are great for the plant, but they are a secondary nutrient, and you have to be careful with them. And it always scares me having to use a lot of it because calcium can block out stuff, and it can block
Yeah,
out
if
a
you,
lot of
yeah,
stuff if you
yeah,
overdo it.
yeah,
You
you don't
know,
want to overdo, guys, any type of nutrient.
you
I
won't
don't care what
typically
it
know,
is.
but
Yeah, micronewts or anything, nitrogen,
but I've
phosphorus,
seen the lockout
sugars,
that
yeah,
silica
you
can
can do
do,
that.
and I've seen the lockout that calcium can do, and they're both pretty bad.
Yeah, you never want nutrient lockout of any type, but adding, a little more sugar or molasses like honey, um, um, unsulfured molasses, Karo corn syrup. Yeah,
And for the last hour of the podcast, we're gonna talk about CO2.
yeah, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. The last podcast we done, yeah, I got on the CO2 trip because I want everybody to try it, man. Because I want them to see how quick
But
their
try
shit
it
goes.
safely.
Yeah, try it safely.
Yeah, you can't
Yes, we
can't
have a
can't
video
play.
on.
It's the silent killer.
Yes, CO2 you don't want building up in a room or house or an apartment complex. I don't care where you live. If you live outside, okay, that's fine. Jack it up as high as you want it. But as far as living it indoors, yeah, be careful with the organic CO2 because they do rise in levels. They spike really high and put out a lot, and then they slowly fizz off. So they
Okay.
put down minimal CO2.
So Andy says I wanted to grow from seed outdoors, but didn't have seed, so gonna have to just go with a clone. Is there anything special I have to do?
Clone, as long as your clone is established as far as, it has roots and it's ready to be transplanted, there is not much you have to do that is different from a cannabis plant. I take it is a photo period, probably obviously, because they don't really do clones of autos, it's kind of pointless. So, as long as your clone that you have is rooted, you can just put it into
Well,
potting soil.
I would say too, make sure whatever area outdoors that you're putting it, you have good drainage there and you
Yeah.
have good fertile soil there for the plant to grow into.
Yes, make sure your soil isn't compacted because then you won't have a fat trunk and you won't have bigger roots, which won't have a lot of weed and won't be a bigger plant. So you need nice, loose, nice soil. Make sure if you're planting it outside, if you're planting it inside, you'd be better off too,
You
because
have
you
a
have,
lot more
yeah,
control
and so
indoors.
indoors than thusly outdoors.
And if you're growing something like say the clone, I don't think you can clone an autoflower, so it would be a photo period typically.
Yeah,
So that would, but then you're waiting for the seasons to change to give you at least less than 13 hours of light, unless you're putting it inside of a greenhouse or something. Then that could
yeah,
change the game around a little bit for you, but it's still tricky. Outdoors, you have
yeah,
so much more uncontrolled factors,
yeah.
which growing indoors is tricky too. So, but I guess it is a little bit,
Deers aren't just going to come into your room where you're growing and just mow down your cannabis.
yeah,
Bugs that will inhabit it, dirt will hit it. There is a lot of things. Like if you guys,
the heavy
yeah,
rain.
I will be the first to tell you if you guys ever seen them bud washing videos and wonder, hey, once I'm done growing my weed, should I wash it indoors? No, you should not, because your plants are not exposed to a bunch of debris and,
Bugs and
yeah, just the
things and
ultimate crap in the
pollen.
environment that's going to stick to those sticky nuggets. Your tent should be clean every grow. Once you take it down, you harvest, you clean out your tent, you replant with everything sterilized, and you have a great, harvest with no mildew, no mold issues, no problem, and you repeat the process, wouldn't you say, Harry?
Yeah, as long as you keep things sterile and you have stuff like some kind of neem oil or some kind of fungicide, pesticide, something that can knock bugs back, and you go in there weekly and just make sure you're maintaining your area.
Yeah.
I normally don't have too much of a problem. It's if you slip and you don't do the maintenance you're supposed to do. You don't do the cleaning. You don't take out the water. You got to do all the steps. Can't
Yep.
skip the steps.
Yep. Sometimes it is, but you do it out of passion for the plant, So cleaning your tent, and that's one video we'll do where we'll break down our tents after a grow. We'll get Harry over here and
Andy says Colorado moose eat weed.
yeah, see, yeah,
You gotta fight off moose, man.
Yeah, Andy has to fight off moose. We're sitting here fighting off deer where we're at. They're like moose, but just smaller and less powerful. I guess I wouldn't fuck with no moose. I mean, I just chalk it as a loss, man.
And he just bites it out of the ground
Yeah.
and runs off, and you're like, well,
Yeah, they're powerful creatures, dude. You're not going to stop them from doing what the hell they want to do with your plants, basically. They weigh a ton and the antlers are strong, and if it's breeding season, man, that's a male, you're fucked. It's just over, dude. You're gonna go flying in the air like a clown at a rodeo, tumbling like a falling star, man. You know. What do you think about that, Harry? Would you ward off some hungry mooses to save your crop, or would you just chalk it as a loss?
um,
Or would you light up a zigzag and go to war, man?
I mean, I think mooses can like get over fences, can't they?
Yeah, yeah, they can go right through them too.
I think you're only allowed to have fences so high too.
Yeah, and they're tall. They're taller than I think they're as tall as me, if not taller. They're big. Their
Well,
antler width is
what
as
what
long as
what you
me.
would have to do is you would have to get some bear piss, right?
Yeah.
And then just pour bear piss all around your property line, and no boost is gonna come around.
Yeah.
Bear
Yeah.
piss
Yeah.
solved your problem.
God, but you'll have a bear problem
Eh,
next.
you might attract some bears, so be
Yeah.
careful with that. But
Yeah.
but it should keep the mooses away.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bear out there eating the flea.
Yeah. You go from one problem to the next. So you went from moose eating
I'll
it
be
to
like,
bears munching
well,
down your freaking crop.
just do this and attract these snakes, and the snakes will kill the bears, and then there you go. Now the
Yeah.
moose and the bears, now you just gotta take care of the snakes.
Yeah.
Mongooses, there you go.
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Then you release the mongooses and you shoot the mongooses. Problem solved.
Yeah. One consistent thing after another.
Nature is fixing itself.
Cycle of life or circle of life, just like the Lion King, right?
We haven't tasted. Yeah, Southwest Homegrown asks, is Northern Lights Auto the same taste as the old school Northern Lights?
Yes, actually, it is bred with the same Landris genetics. It is just in autoflower form. So what they did was they took the Landris original Northern Lights and just bred it with some Ruderalis and created an auto at the same potency, same flavor profile and all. So if you're looking for a really kind of short, condensed, sticky, resinous Northern Lights with that Northern Lights taste, I highly recommend 42 Fast Buds, Autoflower if you're into autoflowers. If not, they have the photo periods as well, Northern Lights.
We have been shooting for in 1 hour.
Okay, and about 1 hour.
Yeah, we're about an hour in.
Yeah, so, well, what's up in comments? We'll
That
go a
the
little longer.
I'm pretty much caught up here.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay current.
okay, cool. Yeah, sorry guys. Usually we have a guy in chat that checks things out and lets us know what's going on, but right
Hey,
now,
that's me.
yeah, right now it's just Harry. So, yeah, we wanted to update you guys, get into talking, some questions. Unfortunately, we can't do too long stream because we got some things going on, and Harry's got to get some videos edited for you guys to
Oh,
watch.
Andy says, what is the weed with the best terp profile in your opinion?
The weed with the best herb profile, effects, and cannabinoids, in my absolute opinion, Harry probably already knows what I'm going to say, but is absolutely the plant I'm growing now is grape ape. I've never had such a unique grape. If you have a water beds and stuff in your local area with the incense and just the way that head shop particularly smells with the stuff that they carry, kind of is like that with a grape. So it's like a grape, earthy, candy-like aroma and taste. And it just is beautiful. It smells really good. It's really potent. I mean, just I give it a 10 all the way around on taste, effects. It's really sedative, really strong. You know you smoked an indica. What about you, Harry?
I'm thinking I've tried so many buds. Um, Going old school, the BC buds, like the blueberry and the
Yeah.
bubble gum, those were really tasty and pretty potent, but it's hard to say, man. The hash plant had a really awesome taste to it. And I like that earthy, weedy taste, you know? Um, it would be hard to say, man. There's so many good
Well,
there's so many good flavors out there. It'd be easier for me to tell you the ones I don't like opposed to the ones I do like.
oh God. I like Granddaddy Purple, Grape Ape, Purple Urkel, Grape Soda, Grape Cake, Grape Ape.
Yeah, all those are good.
Yeah, Grape Grenade,
The
Purple Queen.
watermelons.
Yep, Watermelon OG, Banana OG. Those deep, strong, potent indicas, and that are, basically purple. I like Mendocino Perps.
I had
I
this on
like
some
those.
papayas are good too.
Some papayas are good, but yeah. So you're on the papaya side, you'd say. I'm more on the grapey gas side. I love grape, man.
Southwest Homegrown says I'd say super lemon haze if it's
Okay.
hydroponic.
Okay, yeah,
Considering
super.
this has some sativas there, huh?
Yeah, yeah, but I will tell you, some of those lemon strands I've had that are hybrids are really good and have a good terp profile, especially if they're put in distillate. So I had one called lemon meringue pie, and it was a lemon flavored sativa, but it was like a creamy lemon profile, and it was gassy. I gotta say, it was really good. I mean, what was the one you've had recently that you say would be a good lemon? Have you, I mean, you've had a lot of lemon heads and all that.
In the lemon category, limoncello was a good one.
Limoncello.
Limoncello, I remember that one.
Limoncello is a really good strand, I gotta say. It has a really even deep, kind of like a fresh lemon peel type of scent to it, I remember, with like kind of a cream accent as well because of the cello.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a good strand too. But yeah, I definitely prefer, yeah, definitely
Again,
Andy, or
it'd be way easier just to name the ones I don't like
yeah,
opposed to all the ones I do like.
yeah, Grape Ape, hand over fist, that
Grape
and
Ape.
all, anything deeply indica.
Grape Ape is a good one.
Yeah, I know Grape Ape's an indica hybrid, but it has low sativa and high indica. I love it. Any other chat?
Andy says I smoked lemon weed in Detroit. Taste and smelled like lemon.
Yeah.
There was this one bud I had one time. It was some kind of lemon bud, and like I tasted it, and it tasted just like lemon pledge.
Dude, I had this orange crush. It wasn't orange kush, it was orange crush. And what it tasted like, you guys know them little gummy orange peels that are like orange slices and they're really strong. That's exactly what it tastes like with a little bit of pine weed. It
Southwest
was pretty good.
Homegrown says strawberry diesel and Cap Junkie.
Cap Junkie, we have some of that.
Cap Junkie was a good one.
Yeah, we have some of that now, and the strawberry diesel's really good. I say strawberry gorilla's good too if you want to go that route. It's Gorilla Glue and Strawberry Cough, two legendary strands collided together in both an auto and a feminized. 42 Fast Buds and Herpes.com has them. Better not, mention Herbies too many times because YouTube has a problem with Herbies.com for some reason.
Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
we're age restricted.
Yeah, they're like age restriction. You told them where to get good seeds.
I feel like maybe this.
Whatever.
I don't know. I can't stand
Also, check
this.
out Royal Queen Seeds while we're on the topic.com. They're awesome. We're not sponsors or affiliated, but we buy a lot of seeds from them,
Um,
and they're really awesome.
42 Fast Buds and North Atlantic Seed Company are
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, 42 Fast Buds kicks ass and North Atlantic Seeds. Also, Mephisto, Soulfire. No, not Manifesto, Mephisto.
Manifesto.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody was salty about that. It's Mephisto. I'm
I
like, bro, I
I
just mess it up for a joke. Like,
I
yeah, I know. It's like
accidentally
Manifesto.
I accidentally missed
Spelled
I misspelled it in the intro credits too, and like I
Yeah.
realized like as I was going through, like oh yeah, it's Mephisto. Oh okay, and then I just forgot to fix it.
Yeah, it's ate up spelling. It took me a while when I first came. I'm like Manifesto, Mephisto, and then I had to like
Mephisto,
type it in. It's like Mephisto. I'm like, okay, okay. And I'm like, I'm just gonna mess it up in the
Mephisto,
video because it'll sound funny.
Festo,
Yeah. Like I had two different pronunciations of it, and it was just funny. But some people are like, it's Mephisto. I'm like, okay,
Mephisto.
man. Like I know. I made a video. It's okay. I just did it out of comical humor. That's all. So that happens sometimes. People get angry about things. Like I've noticed one thing about you guys. You guys are definitely opinionated about the seed companies, and that's what I like. I like to see your guys' opinions in the comments section because some people had problems with Royal Queen. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people love them. A lot of people, had problems with this company and that. And it's hard. Some companies I'll put out there and make videos and no one's had a problem with, but some of them only one or two usually. It's usually not a lot of people, so it's cool. It only happens
Well,
to about one person, which
I
sucks. I'm not
I
saying that's cool,
right.
Shitty business, it
I
sucks, but
I think no matter what industry is being ran, there's always going to be a defect, no matter what the product is, whether it's a cheeseburger, a seed, a lighter, a vape pen. Like it's just there's always going to be a defect here and
abs
there.
absolutely you're always going to have those problems, no company, but as long usually 99.9% most companies I tell you will make it right. They have people you talk to immediately. They have great customer service, and that's why I offer them just due to genetics, rarities, exotics they may sell. And not everybody has these places, so you can come to our channel and be like, okay, seed companies, they have several videos on it.
Southwest Homegrown says my gorilla cookie smells like old man and lavender or flowers. I have Jungle Boys.
Jungle
Uh,
Boys is fire.
what is this one?
Good job on
Motor Breath X
yeah.
06 OG
That sounds like some
or
gas.
6 OG maybe is
I
what it
bet
is.
that is some gas. Jungle Boys is fire,
You
dude.
can't find anything on them. I'm excited to pop them. What do you think of Jungle Boys? Jungle Boys is
They're amazing. Their work and their grows and everything is amazing. I watched them years ago before I started Two Buds in a Jar and was inspired. I was also inspired by the Cottonmouth Kings, and they won several cannabis cups with the Kings blend. And they eventually made their own cannabis brands, strand or cultivars and label in the cannabis area. So, that was a big inspiration too, I gotta say. But Jungle Boys are awesome. Barney's Farm's awesome. Lumpy's is awesome. Um, Lumpy's Farm, or I think it's just called Lumpy's Flowers, I'm pretty sure. There's the Mendo Dope Boys, they're pretty good too. They created Mendocino Perps, so shout out to them. That's what Grape Apes kind of cross with. It does have Mendocino Perps in it.
Andy
So
Six says I got sour diesel seeds from Royal and the plants were small. I showed Dustin the pictures. Is it supposed to be like that?
yeah, some of them will be condensed and some of them will be larger, but usually if it's in a auto flower, it's going to be smaller and more compact. If it's in a photo period, it should be relatively larger, you know. But yeah, sativa or those and those are typically small because they're typically autos, man.
Yeah, that Ruderalis doesn't get very tall. What was it, like a foot? typically.
61 centimeters, so 2.5 feet, roughly two
Two
and a
and a
quarter
half feet.
feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the once you cross a taller plant with that smaller plant, you're gonna end up getting a plant that's smaller. Yeah, than
Yeah.
its original form. So yeah, those ruderalis, once you get that genetics in there, you do end up with a smaller plant. Now, I don't know how they did the fast flower, but somehow they were able to get the ruderalis in there and keep the photoperiod genes active. And I think that that's really cool because then you have that speed and you have the control.
Yeah. Yeah. Autoflowers are nifty. You just got to learn that they're different animals than photoperiods.
It's ruderalis. There was that
And ruderalis.
yeah, there was just that misconception that I had that ruderalis was just like sativa or indica,
They're
but
neither.
I realized that indica is different than sativa, and I realize now that ruderalis is very different than these other two over here. So
Yeah, they're different, all three of them. Ruderalis is different than hybrid, sativa, and indica. It's in a cannabis genus all its own. And yeah, it's a
yeah,
dioecious species, which means it has a short life cycle of up to a year. But,
uh,
it's interesting.
Southwest Homegrown says 8 weeks from now I'll document it.
Definitely do that. Yeah, I
Cool.
want to check out because we want to expand and get more strands. It's just right now we're loaded on genetics. So definitely checking out something Jungle Boys, produces as far as seed companies I'd like to
Well, I
see.
think he was might be talking about this one might be talking about the Gorilla Cookies or
Oh,
the Motor Breath or maybe Gorilla Cookies. I don't know. We talked about so many strands.
yeah, yeah. It happens, Harry. It happens. We get a lot of people in the live chat usually. And
Andy Six
yeah.
asks Autoflowers, can you use fluorescent lights?
Yes, you can honestly use very high wattage compact
I I
LEDs
was
or
using that I
CFLs.
was using that light from Walmart.
And yes, you can, as long as it is a bright 300-watt panel or you have at least 300 watts of light per square foot, then yes, you can definitely use LED bulbs in CFL compact fluorescent, which I don't think they make those anymore. So I'd just go with the LEDs. But yeah, you can use fluorescent lighting. They just can't be the tube lights unless they're called T8s, and you'll see that on the bulb somewhere. It'll just have a capital uppercase T and then of course an 8. So those are good because those have full spectrum for like plants. T8s do are full spectrum tubing fluorescent lights. Also CFL compact fluorescent spiral lights, if they still make those, that's great for cannabis grow as long as you have enough of them and the right wattage ratio and LEDs, man.
Jungle Boys has newts. South Southwest Homegrown says should uh should I run Jungle Boys with Jungle Boy newts, I think is what he was saying, because I'm in a trailer with a small amount of space. No, wait, that was Andy. Wait, I'm talking about, man, I'm lost. Should I run Jungle Boys with, does Jungle Boys have newt system?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's asking if he should run the Jungle Boys seeds with the Jungle Boys newt system.
I
That'd
would,
probably be the
yeah,
best.
yeah. I would highly recommend their nutrient regimen with our products. Yeah.
That'd be like growing Humboldt seeds and using the Humboldt
Gimbal
solution.
solutions. Yeah,
Seems
so
like it
yeah.
should go together hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they were designed for each other or something. And growing in a small space is rough, Andy. I've been experimenting with that because I'm in a small space myself, and it is tricky. It seems like you definitely need at least 6 feet of height. Anything less than that, and you're going to run into issues. And you're gonna have to have some way to regulate humidity, dehumidity,
Yeah.
and a fan. And if you can regulate all that, you should be in there. But you need at least a 2 by 2 foot space,
Yeah.
light, humidifier, dehumidifier, fan.
Yeah, there are some essentials you will need in a small, tight space, honestly.
And if you could get some kind of way to get the air out of there and bring new air in there, that would make it even better.
Yeah, yeah, but I gotta say. Well, anything else in the comments, man?
Nope, I'm caught up with the comments.
We're caught up. Well, Canna family, I want to thank you guys for joining us. This is our co-host Harry Cola, and as always, I'm Dustin, your host from Two Buds in a Jar. We're going to have three videos coming out. We're going to have a sitcom coming up, more podcasts. We got to go ahead and cut this one short because Harry's transportation, and we've been filming all day. We are exhausted. Much love to you guys in the comment section and all those that watched. We greatly appreciate it. Till then, I'm your host, Dustin from Two Buds in a Jar, and this is Harry Cola. We're signing out. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.
Smoke weed every day.